uSports Central back at it, brightening up the set. It's Sean Jimenez, head coach of the Rio Grande Ravens, joining us. First off, your team is on a roll, so we had to get you on the show to talk a little 3 and out here with us, and of course, it's you. It's all you right now. Coach, look, you've won 3 straight in district play. We thought you had to win at least 1 district game, and then you just kind of went from there and won 3 straight to get yourself into the tournament. You've booked yourself in the tournament now.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having us, and there was no question. We were at a point where we were 0-5 in district, 0-5 in district, and I told our boys, let's get the 1 win. We have to get 1 win, and it'll start steamrolling after that. But we won. We beat Valley last week and Albuquerque High, and in my opinion, are 2 of the top teams in the state. And you know what? I think we have the toughest district in the state, but our boys are playing really well right now, and this is the time you want to be playing well.
So tell everyone about your team. Me and Adam, we have the joy of going around, checking out different teams, so we get to witness different teams. Tell us about your backcourt, because I don't think people know the name Marshall Moore. They know the Brooks brothers. They don't know Marshall Moore. Tell us about your team.
You know what? Our strength this year is definitely our guard play, but we also have 2 really good bigs. But Marshall Moore, on any given night, the other night he scored 30 points. He had 24 the other night too. He's one of the best guards in the state when he puts his mind to it.
Yeah.
Then we got Jordan Brooks, and then I got Dominic Gonzalez, who's our starting 2 guard, who is our captain, who's a junior captain, and one of the smartest players in this state. And our guards are as good as any in the state as a combination.
Yeah. And you just touched on your post. Break that post down, because I've witnessed the post. You got some big fellas down there, Coach. Tell us about your post, guys.
You know what? It's a non-traditional Rio Grande team. Usually it's guards, full court pressing, but we have 2 kids. Brian Ruiz, who's 6'5", can jump out the gym, kind of like you. I've heard about you. And
back in my day.
Get out of here.
And then 6'5", Miguel Rodriguez, who's a junior, who is just solid. He's about 225, and you can't move him around down there. No. So we actually have an inside-outside game that they both complement each other, so it's really fun to coach when you have that.
So what was it? I mean, you guys started gelling here at the right time, like you said. You've stepped ahead of Atrisco Heritage. You beat Atrisco, like you said, Albuquerque High, and then Valley, 2 of the better teams in the state, and you jumped ahead of Atrisco Heritage in district standings. So by NMAA rule, you'll be seated above them in the tournament. So we know you're going to be in, but what was it? What was the difference here in these last 3 games that you guys were able to surge up ahead?
I'll give you 2 stats for us. Taking care of the basketball. In our losses this year, we've had over 20 turnovers, which is horrendous. So when we have 12 or less turnovers, we've won all our games. And free throw shooting. Our free throw shooting has been abysmal. We're 55% on the year. And the last 3 games, like against Valley, I think we were just, 20 for 24.
Wow.
And so those 2 things we've shored up the past 2 weeks. And so obviously that translates to some wins for us.
That's great that you brought that up, because you mentioned how you think Albuquerque High Valley are one of the better teams. I think because teams are so equally matched this year, it's going to come down to the 2 things you just mentioned. Who's not going to turn the ball over and who's knocking their free throws down. Does that give you confidence moving forward where you can tell your team, like, guys, look, we did the things I told you. We limited turnovers and we made our free throws. Do you believe me now? Are you guys with me? Do you think they're buying into what you're telling them now?
Yeah, I think there's no question it is. And I'll tell you this, not just for us, but like you brought up, the way the officiating has been officiated the past 2 years, because they're emphasizing more hand checks, you have to be a good free throw shooting team. If you don't shoot good free throws, you are not going to win games in the state tournament. You're just not going to. And if you don't take care of the basketball, you're not going to win games. So I think for whoever it is, whether it's Rio Grande or Cleveland or Hobbs or Volcano, whoever it is, if you don't do those 2 things in the state tournament, you will not win.
What would you like to see is your team struggling in district play, going through losing on the bubble, maybe not in the state tournament at the time. The bounce back of your guys, though, the attitude, the change, knowing that they had the ability to get in the state tournament. I mean, a lot of teams at that time probably just fold, get worse as it goes. You're losing. You find more ways to lose. But this was opposite. You guys are finding ways to win now.
I think our group knew, and they know we had a good team. They just know we weren't playing together as a unit. And once they figured that out, and regardless, and like you said, when you're at that point in the district season, that late in district season, you're 0-5, teams, and especially seniors, can be like, you know what, it's my senior year, let me get my shine on. I don't care about the team no more, let me get my 20, 30 points. Our team went in a different direction, and they came more together, and all we needed was that one little win, because we lost to Atrisco on a last-second shot. We lost a close game to Albuquerque High, which is a real good team, by 3, and then as soon as we got that one Atrisco win by 1 point, they started coming a little bit closer together and buying in a little bit more, and you just seeing it steamroll a little bit more and more, and like I said, right now they're playing really well together.
Okay, tell people how strong. In my opinion, District 5 is the best district. I'm always gonna say that because I've seen firsthand the kids fight every
Even
night.
though they're 4-12 against
every
District
night.
1.
But I'm gonna tell you
I'm
why.
just saying.
I saw you after the APS tournament, and you just lost to Del Norte. You had to look that dejected look. But I asked you, Coach, what's going on? He's like, we'll get it right. It's just right now. Yeah. Tell me what it takes to convince these kids of that, and how strong that district is, because you knew what you were coming up against.
I'll tell you this. Earlier in the year, before the year started, everybody outside of District 5 thought Valley would finish last.
Yeah,
but if you ask every single coach inside that district,
yeah, I did.
If you ask every single coach inside that district, you knew they had some talent coming back. Mm-hmm. You have Joel Coleman, who's arguably one of the best coaches in the state. Mm-hmm. So, and I hear what Adam says here. I think top to bottom, from 1 to 5, it is the top district in the state. Now, Cleveland and Rio Rancho and Volcano are really good, but they have other teams. I think all 5 of our teams are going to get in the state tournament. When you have that, to me, I think you rate the whole
I don't think there's
conference.
an argument top to bottom.
Yeah.
You guys are definitely the best. We're talking with Sean Jimenez, head coach of the Rio Grande Ravens, here on 3 and Out. You guys definitely on a roll right now. Is there anything left to accomplish here in district play, just to stay hot? Is that the goal? I mean, obviously you've kind of earned your spot in the state tournament. I don't know as far as how much more you can climb where your seeding range is right now. We have you projected as a 13. I think you probably don't matter where you're seated as long as the matchup is more favorable towards you, right?
Yeah, you know what? We're going to get in the state tournament. I think this week for all teams, it's still, you still want to go out on a good note. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that, you want to have some momentum going into the state tournament next week. And what better way momentum than win a couple games this week in a tough district to get you prepared for that state tournament next week. And like I said, I don't care who we play. I don't care where we go. Our team just has to be prepared for whoever they throw at us. And I think we will be prepared. And like I said, I think our district will be prepared. The only thing we don't want is to match up against a district team in the state tournament next week.
That's the last thing any district coach want to see,
well,
right?
We're going to talk to Dusty Young tomorrow, and you can join us tomorrow of the NMAA, and he's going to talk about seeding and selection process with us. But I feel, though it's not a rule anymore, I feel like if they can tweak a seed here or there, they will, in order to make non-district matchups. No one wants to see that because everyone's so familiar with their district. Anybody can beat anybody then right away in the tournament.
And I hope that happens, and I think the NMA will do that. And I think yourself and Charles here, you guys have you've probably been to more games than us coaches have, than any media has, and anybody has. And honestly, I see your guys' tweets of where teams are, and I honestly think that's about where it's going to be with the teams you have in. And I think this week isn't, maybe for a couple teams playing to get in, maybe not. Maybe seeding going from a 12 to 11 or from a 4 to a 3. Mm-hmm. But I think for the most part, you have the 16 teams right, and it's going to be pretty much right there.
We're getting some love. Look at that.
A little love every once in a while. So tonight's game, what's the plan? Because Atrisco, you know they're going to come at you because now
no question.
Because Adam says, oh, they're in. I think they're in too. But
yeah,
you don't want to leave any uncertainty as a coach. So you know Coach Ortega saying, if we get this win, guys, we're in for sure. Any motivation helps. What's the plan tonight?
To win by 1 point. So, and it's
Coach speak. See, we can't ever get them to just.
You know what? They're going to bring it. The last 2 games, they had the last possession. They hit a last-second 3 and beat us. We had the last possession of this last game, hit a last-second 2 to win the game. So it's going to come down to who has the ball last, who hits some free throws, who takes care of the basketball. But I'll tell you this, our kids still have their back against the wall, knowing that if we lose, we're done. And that's the way we're playing everything right now, because our motto is win the next play. Yep. Win the next play. That's all you can worry about.
Good motto. So.
And I think you're right with district play. These tournaments, I don't think there's a lot of change. I think maybe Oñate is the only team that can maybe scrap their way in. But we'll see. Listen, we do appreciate the time. Best of luck to the Rio Grande Ravens. Thanks for coming on. His Rio Grande Ravens, again, going to take on Atrisco at home tonight. They're on a roll. They've won 3 straight. They're going to be in the state tournament. And remember, you could find that out, all the information, live here, 5:30, Channel 26, uSports Network, and ProViewNetworks.com. We'll break it all down. We're the first with the information. Glad you could join us, Coach.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you, guys.